So in the past, we've gone ahead and we've looked at how to take our models, download them, and then we can put the maps onto them so we can make heads and tails as of what's going on. We've even then taken photorealistic pictures, essentially, and turned them into maps, whether they be normal, specular, and then create diffuse maps from that. Today, we're going to try something a little bit different, and that's generating our own textures and then turning them procedural, which you can use in Rust or anything else. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one, so get ready. Here we go. Derek Dumas here. So the last time that I showed you guys how to do Rust textures or textures for making skins, I basically showed you how to take photos and mix them together and everything like that. But if you didn't want to go outside, there's actually another way to do it. I found this cool thing. Now, it's not secure, meaning anything that you physically type in and you send through the field, you can actually, other listening parties can pick up on it. If you use something like this right here, the sliders, it's not going to matter. But this tool is great. It's free to use. It's royalty free. This guy named Christian Perry, otherwise I'd be like, oh yeah, man, I'll donate to you. But you do that, it's tough. I don't put anything in any fields where it's not secure. So that's the first disclosure of this thing, but that's the only thing that I'm really going to give a disclosure to. And let's pull up Blender just so we can see what we're dealing with here. Right here, you got cloud settings. Change the size of the cloud, detail amount, and you can actually change the seed too. And I believe you can go up to 999. And we'll do 999,999,999. So, okay, it actually does go past 999. Bring down the scale. Seed will be 2. And you can start really making your own textures here. Detail, if it goes up, I believe it's going to be a little bit more sharp. Oh, you can actually see it procedural right there, and then it's repeating. So that's throwing it to an algorithm. Do this for gray. They have mountains where you can change the colors. If we were to take this, turn it like a rust color. Do this one too. Make it a little bit more rusty look. You can see the gray there. And I'm just kind of playing with it here. Alright, bring up the strength, bring down the strength so that there's not a lot of outlines, change the height, and the scales from the mountains. Let's drag it all the way down. So again, I mean, the possibilities are endless here. You can just go ahead. And I know you might be thinking like, well, Derek, that's not really a big deal. It is if you want to go ahead and make something completely your own. And from there, just be able to say, hey, look, I made this.
And it'll save you time too from coloring it. Coloring it in. It's just another tool at your disposal, basically. So right here, let's bring down the strength so it's a little bit. Let's bring down the strength all the way so it's nice and smooth. Bring up the detail all the way. And now you got like a tie-dye effect. So you can essentially make tie-dye shirts, change the colors here. I'm going for more of an earthy, rusty look because what I want to do is I can overlay this on something else. So you can do this and say a brick wall. So we have this right here. Let's see if it changes it. Brick. We'll do 2 by 2. Change this into a brick pattern. Rotate this 90 degrees. 3. Change the brick to red. The gradient will be like a gray. I said like a gray. And the grout will be like a light color. And holy crap, that looks awesome. However, right here you can see down at the bottom, it's cut off. It's not like it is up at the top. I don't believe you can do 2.6. Let's do 7. But we can actually make these procedural. And we'll jump back to this. Same thing. Seed is going to be 25. And boom. We have this awesome thing right here, 1024 by 1024. Call it rustish. Hit download. It is now downloaded our texture. And I'm going to throw rustish right on my desktop. And now I am going to throw this. Some of you probably already know where I'm going with this. To brick. Download. And then you can actually pull up Materialize. Now, I started looking at this and checking out other things on here because I was really amazed and blown away by this. And I saw need a NormalMap. But there's no way to click it. Again, I don't download anything. Texture generator online. So what I ended up doing was right clicking and just basically inspecting the code here. Or no. Viewing, where is it? View page source. And I started going through it, and here's your basic HTML going all the way down. It has some JS scripts or JavaScripts, JScripts. And right about, I believe it was in the 970s, I found this link right here, which I'll also link at the bottom. And there's the NormalMap generator. And this basically does everything that the other one does, Materialize, but I do like how Materialize gives you a lot. It's a lot more detailed. But if you're just learning how to do stuff and you're playing around, you want instant effects just to play around and learn, this works out quite well. So let's go ahead. This is kind of exciting here, guys. We're going to go into brick. We're going to open up the brick. And now we have this brick source. We can add an environment. And that's because the specular is super smooth. And what we'll do here, filter. First we'll change it to char. Let's bring down the level, blur, sharpen. If you shut off the displacement, it'll shut off that extra bit of height, whereas if you throw it on, you'll see it actually protruding and sticking up. So those are your displacement maps, which are right here. Blur, sharpen. There we go. And it's like, okay, well, that's pretty cool how they got that. And you got your normal right here. But what I want to do is actually, I want to click on this and I want to bring in Rustish so that it gives it, let's bring it over to specular, changing our specular, the range, ambient occlusion, our AO, and let's shut off our displacement. So that's our rust right there. Let's bring her to a cylinder. There we go. And you can upload your own OBJ file, which it's going to be that one texture going across the whole thing. But as you can see right here, we have the displacement and the normal map all right here. Let's bring down blur and sharpen and definitely bring down our strength. Bring the level like that. Strength goes up. And this is great for just making like the little niches and the bullet holes or whatever you want to with it. So with that, our normal map, we'll call this norm 1. Let's see if we can bring our displacement up over here. No, because nope, that's the same thing as right here. I only played around with this briefly, but it's something else as to materialize. Sometimes materialize takes a little bit to load up. You do have a lot more options with material. There we go. With materialize right here. But this is just great if you're doing something real quick and you need something on the fly, or you want to go ahead and you're at a friend's house and you want to go ahead and say, hey, you know, check this out. You don't have to download anything. It's right on the web page. Again, it is not secure. I never say, hey, don't donate to people, because people that do stuff for free, I mean, I'm one of them. You know, I would never say, hey, don't. I would never put a rain on someone else's parade. But I just do not trust anything that is unsecure. Do not enter any passwords, credit cards, because it'll pop up. I mean, somebody can, you know, wire shark you easily. All right, so let's go here. Let's do Sobel. That's a little bit lighter. You can save it as a PNG, a JPEG, or TIFF. Okay. So, or you can download all of them. So let's just do this one. What happens if you do all? Allow. Norm 1, norm 1, norm 1. Okay. And let's show these in the folder. And with these shown in the folder, let's see what 3 is. Okay, that's our specular. Got it. That's our normal. That would probably be your height. Alright, so let's try this again. Hit that, get those out of there. Let's bring up our displacement. Oh. See if it does a plane. It does do a plane. Alright, let's check this out on a plane. Bring up the contrast. So you see how the displacement, what it does? This is a good way for learning because you'll see, you know, in a lot of 3D programs, like, what's the difference between displacement and AO? So let's throw out the displacement and go to AO. Strength for AO. I believe it just does that extra bit. I usually just work with normal and height maps, honestly. And let's bring up our blur sharpen. Alright, so it's a little bit more sharp. Look at that. That looks awesome. And then specular, which is also your roughness. Let's bring up our range. So now you can see where this is gray right here. It's mirror-like. So if it's black, it's not reflective. If it's gray, it's semi-reflective. It's a little bit foggy. And if it's white, it's just super reflective. Super reflective. There we go. Just playing around with it here. So this will give you a pretty good idea as to what would be reflective and then what wouldn't. It doesn't do any emission maps, but you could probably use specular as emission as well. But I would, I'd cut it out in certain things. Let's just do this so it's all right. Our displacement, let's bring it up a little bit. We can invert it so down is up and up is down, which that kind of looks pretty good. And AO gives a little bit of extra detail. That's with no AO. Alright, so let's take off the specular and just look at the AO and the normal. With our AO and our normal, and we'll do the diffuse too. Come on. Which is this right here? Did I break it? Rustish. There we go. So as you can see, can I do this? Oh no, right click. Alright, so right click is to move it around, and then you can pivot it with the left mouse button and then zoom in and out. all these 3D tools are usually pretty much the same. So let's go ahead and, again, I mean, you could play with this for hours, but once you get the idea as to how the basics work and what each one is, it's a good way with playing with things. Then you can jump into Materialize and really just go at it and make something 10 times better. But this way, at least, like, displacement again brings how, to what degree is your normal map where it goes up and down. Oh, there we go. Displacement. We'll bring down the contrast. See how it's really popping out. You can see the spikes down there because that will show up. And displacement maps are great for planes, but we won't invert it. There we go. It's very faint. That actually is a great displacement map. Alright, and now that we have that, let's throw the environment too. That is way too shiny. So let's jump back into our AO. Bring down our range. No, I'm sorry, specular. Derp. There we go. And now we'll make it a little bit reflective. So you can really see how we have this whole thing here. So let's call this Rustish. And we'll save it as a PNG file, 100%. Download all. And now that Rustish has been downloaded all, underneath our downloads directory, we go ahead and you can check out the first one. That's your normal. I don't know what this one is. What the heck? This is 3. I believe that's our specular 2, 1. Alright, so let's jump back and see if we can't figure these out. So specular is the one that's mostly black. I believe that is our specular. That's our specular. Alright, so rename it to Rust Specular. This is going to be Rust. Next one. What's our displacement? Alright, our displacement is that one right there. That is gray, which it looks like the first one. Rename to Rust Displace. And we are going to jump over to, so this obviously it has some ups and downs. That was our displace. Our normal, we'll do Rust normal underneath. Where are you? PNG2? Nope. Rust. Huh. Rustish. Rename to Rustish Norm. And Rustish 2 is what? Our AO. So Rust AO. Rustish AO. there we go. So now that we have all those right here, well, first things first, let's close out all this. Underneath photos. And I don't know if they keep the same, I believe they keep the same dimensions, I would imagine. But right here, file, new folder, rustish PNG, hold shift, underneath new folder, and we will double click on this, and boom, we got all of them right there. So this will be our diffuse. And I believe, here, let's grab this. So this is like not an advanced technique, but it's an extra tool for you to really play with and figure it out. And it definitely, I mean, this will help with your textures. Now you just made this and it's 100% your own. No one's going to take this away from you. Also, where this starts and where this ends, right now it is not, what's the word I'm looking for? Procedural. Or not procedural. It doesn't repeat. Shift A, mesh, plane. Let's go into UV editing. It's already pretty much unwrapped, so all we got to do is just add a material to it. So let's just click material, base color, image texture, open, desktop, and rust material. And then from here you can go right into this material. So that's what we made. Shading. Shift A, new texture, image texture. And if you hit Shift and D, this is highlighted, same thing. And let's open up our normal map underneath desktop, new folder, norm, plug that right into our normal. See how this looks. Probably not going to tell without the light. Not bad. So let's throw in shading. So that's our normal. Our diffuse is right here, which is our base color. There's our specular. So open desktop, new folder, rust specular. No! Son of a baby. Color goes right into specular. This goes right into our normal. Hit this, Shift and D, open, AO. AO is also, I believe, metallic, but I could be wrong. Or it could be, it's your IOR, normal. Let's see what this looks like out in the layout. Yep. That's good right there. I believe our metallic is, that's AO. So again, I mean, you can mess around with these a little bit here. Probably be better if we just do this. Desktop. underneath new. Crap on a cracker, man. Rust specular. We have our specular already in there. Let's make our specular and our metallic the same thing. Because that way, just for right now. Or unless our we're going to open up a new one here. I'm sorry. AO will be our metallic. So AO is metallic. Yeah. And then we're going to need roughness. This is all over the place here. Desktop. Okay. Rust displacement. There we go. Well, remember how I showed you how to use right click and shift, and then you can press G to go right here. Shift G. Shift right click. Well, we really don't need it for that. Our AO will be our metallic. And rust normal will go here. And then we need our roughness. Which, did we already make another one? Yes, right here. Control and space when I'm hovering in that window. Click that. And shift right click, G here. G here. Oop. G. G. There we go. Bring that to about here. Click on that. G. Click on it again. Bring it up. That way it looks a little bit nice and neat. Our roughness will be new folder. Displace. There we go. Let's try that. And then control and space. There we go. It's a little bit better. And let's go back to our layout. So boom, look at that. Now you could actually go even further, and we can add an actual displacement modifier to this, but that's not going to have anything to do with your normal maps and working with Rust textures. We could probably go as far as to smooth that out as well. Let's kind of compare it to this here. So there's a little bit of a difference. AO. Let's try AO as our roughness. Or our metallic. Is that what we set it as? I don't know. Find out in the next episode of What the Hell Am I Doing? Rust AO is underneath metallic. Yeah. Okay. So the settings, yeah, I guess that's a little bit. Okay. Yeah, you can see there where it's a little bit held off. And you can see where it's kind of rough there. This is sort of blended out a little bit, which isn't bad. I mean, it really doesn't look that bad at all. It kind of gives a nice texture to it. Let's take this light, G on the X, bring that over here, rendering. Yeah. So we essentially made our own texture right here. This is 100% ours. Nobody can take this from us. And from there, I mean, before you go ahead and you do all these fancy modifying effects, you can go ahead and, I mean, we could add it to other things as well, onto our models. But let's go ahead and we can try, let's make this so that it goes over, because if we go ahead and we continue to stretch this, or we want it to go ahead and repeat, right here where this starts, it's not filled in right here. So when this next one starts, it's going to start off over there. And how you fix that is, it's really actually quite simple. And I mean, you can do it with all of them too. Well, I would do it with just Rustish and then go ahead and make these maps. So go ahead and open it. Let's use paint just for ha-has, because I want to give you the basic idea and then you can jump into GIMP and do it. I'm trying to keep this one underneath 45 minutes. I just wanted to give you guys something to let you know that I'm not forgetting about you guys here. So it's 1024 by 1024. We have to make, this is only 1/4 of what we need to make a procedural map, or whatever you call it, procedural, I guess, where one ends, the other begins. So with it being 1024 by 1024, we're going to hit Control and A, so it selects all of it. You can see where it just jumped up here, and Control and C. It now copied this. So underneath File, under Properties, we need to do 1024, and I believe we can just do ×2. No, it won't allow us to do that. I know in GIMP it will. But anyways, it's 240, 2048. And there we go. We have one right there. Next one that we're going to do is, well, the other one's going to be 2048 as well. So we have 2048, and I'm pressing Control and scrolling in and out, by the way. And if you hit Control and V, now that we have this, we can go to File, or right click, I'm sorry, we'll right click on the selected thing here, rotate, and we want to flip this one horizontally so that it flips this over here. And then we can bring this right up to about here. Let's zoom in. Control V. Oop, Control Z, Control V. Let's just slide it right over by holding right. Now that we have that, right click, rotate, and we're going to flip it horizontally. Perfect. And now we can do the whole thing here. Control A, Control C, and go into File, underneath Properties. No, I'm sorry. Hit Control V, right click on it, or not. It's underneath the selection menu. Transparent selection. So we've hit Control A, Control V, right click, rotate, and then flip vertically. You got to be kidding me. That's perfect. So where this one starts, this one begins, and it'll just constantly rotate it. I just said, are you kidding me? Because I don't even think we had to do that. Let's try this again. Anyways, yeah. So File, Save. So that's rustish.png. And let's click on our map to new folder. Let's get rid of these. Delete, 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 delete. So open. And now we have this that repeats over and over and over and over. And if you were to set it as a land mass, this is what it would look like. I mean, you could jump into GIMP, and we'll make procedural textures a whole nother thing. The whole point of this was to show you that, hey, look, this will get you used to diffuse, displacement, normal, AO, specular, and with just a short range of options. Whereas materialize is a little bit more advanced, and that's really for fine-tuning things. You don't need to fine-tune anything just yet if you're learning. It's just a great tool. Not only that, but you can make your own textures as well. Alright, well, that's pretty much that right there. I am also almost done with the web page. I know I keep saying it, but then I tweak things even more. I'm going to have a Rust section. I'm going to have a section for the models. It'll just be a place for people to come learn, share their ideas, any tools that they've found for free, things like that. And most importantly, learn methods that I've picked up, and maybe you guys could share a few things too. I'm trying to secure the funding to get a domain name, and then we're going to need a lot of space if we're all going to be sharing stuff, you know. But if you like what you guys saw, like, subscribe, hit the notification button, because pretty soon I'm going to be dropping at least 1, maybe 2 videos a week, not just on this. I think the next video, let's do an AK video for Rust. I'll work on that for a little bit, because this would make a great material right here. But yeah, so you guys get the basic idea. Oh, see, look it, brought up the size too. Shows you exactly what we put it as. So today you learned how to basically use NormalMap online, and texture generator. The links are in the description. And as always, just keep learning, guys. Thank you. Okay, and just to recap, what you're going to do is go into texture generator. You're going to go ahead, make all the appropriate setting adjustments. Make sure that your strength is down if you're using the mountains. That way you don't get the shadows. Change your colors. And then whatever you want to choose your size, make sure that it's double on both sides, meaning squared. So 1024 by 1024 would be 2048. So we're going to go ahead, name the folder, or name the file, I should say. Download. From there, you're going to take it from your downloads, throw it on your desktop, or whatever possible file that you want from there. And then you're going to open it up with Paint. You could use GIMP too, but Paint's easier for this application. Now we're going to turn it into a procedural texture. By clicking on it and going into properties, you can either start with the width or height, it doesn't matter, but you're going to have to double it. So width would be 2048. Press Control A to bring up the entire thing. Control C to copy it, and then hit Control V to post it. Then you're going to go down underneath Select, and you're going to click on Flip on the horizontal axis. If you did the height, it would be the vertical. And then you set that off. You set it as a transparent selection so that the white part fades out. And now you change it for the height as well. Control A, Control C, Control V, and then you flip vertically. You now have your procedural texture, and you can just hit the little save button. From there, what you can do is you just jump right back in, and you can go into the texture generator for your normal maps. Load that in, and you can immediately start playing around with it. Change the levels, change the strengths. Don't forget, you can also change your model from a cube to anything else you want to put on the environment. And don't forget to load your diffuse right in. And that's pretty much it. Once you made all your appropriate settings, you should be pretty much okay to go. Doesn't look bad. Change your map name and what you want the file to be, and then hit all, so it saves all from normal all the way down to specular. And those will be in your download file. Alright guys.